and Avatar pulled in an extra $0.5 million. $500,000 more, which you're like, well, that's not much. Yeah, but the movie's fucking 13 years old. Let's talk about Avatar.
Baby.
I think we're going to talk about Avatar for the next 2 weeks. Probably. Let's talk about Avatar's road to $3 billion and how it started off with a bang. For those of you that check out the show regularly, you'll know that we talked about last week, and I think twice last week, we talked about can Avatar make the $152 million, I think it was, in 2 weeks that it needs to hit $3 billion. Be the first and probably only movie to ever hit $3 billion at the box office. And as I said before it got re-released, it needed $152 million to do it. It has a limited 2-week. I think it's going to be more than 2 weeks, honestly. I think because 2 weeks would be not this Friday, but next Friday. I guarantee they let it go through that weekend. So I think it's going to be 2 weeks in a weekend. I could be wrong, but that would be weird for a movie to just go away on Friday, especially if they're getting close to that money. I think they'll leave it there. But who knows? But anyway, it got released. Its official re-release. I think I reported on Saturday that it had got its early release in some smaller territories. It did decent. It did well for those small territories, very well. But the money wasn't big. It was right under $1 million. These are very small territories it was in. Now it has gone worldwide, with the exception of China, because it already went there. Mm-hmm. And after this weekend, and it had stiff competition because Don't Worry, Darling, which has been on. Everybody's been talking about that movie. Positive or negative press. Press is press. That came out this week as well. That's the new movie to come out this week. Well, Avatar re-release earned $30.5 million in its opening weekend. The 4K HDR version of the movie snagged the top spot in 50 global markets upon launch by grossing $20.5 million worldwide, or not worldwide, but in the rest of the world, and $10 million here domestically, 13 years after its initial release. So what does that mean as far as its road to a $3 billion? As of Tuesday-ish, this may have been Monday when I pulled this information, I'm not sure, but as of Monday or Tuesday, it needs approximately $119 million to hit $3 billion. I mean, that's a lot for 2 weeks, but it's not totally undoable either. That would be a hell of a hit. I think you mentioned last week that would be monumental. That'd be a hell of a hit.
Yeah. Yep.
But I mean, it made 30.5 in its first 2 days or 3 days. So who knows?
Can we just talk about how it beat out a new movie?
We're going to talk about that, yeah.
Yeah. It's just crazy. It's crazy. I'm not really surprised because there is still a love for Avatar, and the fact that, as we were talking about on Saturday, they did add a clip to the movie for Avatar: Way of Water. Apparently, the clip I saw, there was other places that had a different clip with the characters that's coming back as Sigourney Weaver coming back in the movie. Ooh. Yeah, apparently there was a different clip where she's swimming through the water. It's in the trailer, but apparently I don't know. I had a friend send it to me, but I mean, it just shows you once again. We talk about this, Jacob. Don't piss off the master that is James Cameron, because he will fuck you every time when it comes to trying to dissuade
Jimmy Boy.
Yeah, he's the king.
Well, I haven't seen it yet. I was supposed to go see it yesterday, but I had to reschedule because of some scheduling conflicts. I'm going to see it Friday. I'm definitely seeing it Friday, so I'll get to see that clip, and I'll get to see the HDR 4K Ds and X's and double Ds version of the film. I'm looking forward to it. So I will contribute my little bit of money to the road to $3 billion. But what Nick was alluding to a moment ago is that, as I mentioned, this week's new. Well, yeah, it is new. Both movies are new, but this one, of course, is a re-release 13 years later. Don't Worry, Darling was the other new movie this week, and it got beat out by Avatar at the worldwide box office. Don't Worry, Darling was close, but no cigar, at only $30 million worldwide. And Avatar pulled in an extra $0.5 million, $500,000 more, which you're like, well, that's not much. Yeah, but the movie's fucking 13 years old. This is a brand new movie that everybody's been talking about. Everybody's been spitting on people just to go see this fucking movie. Avatar, that that's the other thing. That's the other thing about it. Everybody's seen Avatar. I mean, there aren't many people that haven't seen Avatar. And it made that much fucking money.
It just shows you how good of a theatrical experience Avatar is. Like, Avatar is a theatrical experience. Like, Don't Worry Darling, you could watch on Warner Brother or whatever, whoever put it out on like whatever streaming service and be fine with it. Avatar is one of those movies that it looks good on TV, as we've talked about this, but it's like Inception, or not Inception. I don't know. We'll say Inception or whatever Christopher Nolan puts out. It's a movie that is for the big screen. Like, when it left back in 2009 and you couldn't watch it again on IMAX, it was actually kind of sad, because it's like, you need to see that movie on the big screen. That's why it's, you know, it is what it is. That's why I'm glad it made more than Don't Worry Darling.
And it's been 13 years since I saw it in the big screen. Looking forward to seeing it this Friday. But yeah, I think that is. We talked about it'll need to do some monumental things to hit that $3 billion. Well, it just did one. It was number one at the box office when there was.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, Don't Worry, Darling is not a big action movie or anything, but I mean, it had a lot of press. There's a lot. There was the mind share was there. People were talking about Don't Worry, Darling, even regardless if it's good or not. People were talking about it. So I mean, I can't say I'm totally surprised that it got outdone by Avatar, but I mean, there's part of me that kind of is. Now, I will say that I think Don't Worry, Darling outdid Avatar in the U.S. It wasn't like a landslide, but it did. That's where Don't Worry, Darling made most of its money. But Avatar still made $10 million on a fucking re-release 13 years later, when a lot of people own the goddamn movie already. So
multiple versions of it, actually.
Yeah, I do. So that's just insane to me that this movie is doing this well. I mean, who knows? Maybe next weekend, $2 million. I mean, we might right there be like, all right, there's that road, it's done. But I mean, if it comes out swinging again with another $20 or $30 million next weekend, this thing could have a chance, depending on what it does, like, you know, Monday through Thursday. We'll see. But yeah, that's what we're probably going to look at this again. Maybe not Saturday, because it'll be a little bit too early, but next Wednesday we'll probably take a look at this again and see where it's at. Because next Wednesday, I believe it will only have not even a full week left at the box office. See if it's going to hit it. I'm in all honesty, I will be surprised if it does hit that $3 billion. But man, I hope it does, because that's just fucking crazy. It's like, I have no investment in it, but there's something about just like, oh, this movie's, it's right there. It's just right there. I just wanted to reach out and grab it, because I mean, 152 million is in the movie world. Oh hell, now 119 million. That's nothing. That's nothing. But we'll see. We'll see if it does it. Who knows? Maybe. But let us know in the comments below. Have you gone back and seen the re-release of Avatar? Did you put your money out there for it to hit that $3 billion? Are you contributing? You're fighting the good fight. And if you did, what do you think? Do you think the film is going to hit $3 billion? And have you seen Don't Worry, Darling? And which one do you think is better? I've heard bad things about Don't Worry, Darling. But anyway, moving on.